Check a few of my lives out. Make sure they working. All right, hold up here. Let's see if my live is working. All right, that one is working. Okay, peace,
I might have to
peace.
bring up the flag behind me too.
Say again. I'm sorry. Are you good? I think it's good. It's good. All right, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. Haki Ami here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing wonderful. Lots of great things going on. I wanted to have this conversation, something that's definitely overdue. We're going to have a conversation about male female relationships, of course, and feminism and what black masculinity should be, and simping. So let's open up, brother. And I'm here live. Of course, this is Haki Ami, and I have my brother, the Black Order Podcast, live with me. So what's going on, brother? How you been, man? Everything been
Doing
great?
good, man. Everything's going good, going wonderful, man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, yeah, nice, nice. Appreciate the time. That we definitely always a good building, but it's been a lot of different things going on, and this is something that we wanted to discuss, of course. And I haven't dealt with this a whole lot, but it's something that you keep hearing and seeing things, and and I have views and opinions, and I'm just like, man, we need to deal with this. So first, let's
Oh,
dig into this growth of feminism, for instance, and what you've recently have seen, and you felt the need to share and get some things off your chest in terms of what do you see as some of the challenges, or how this interpreted feminism is actually destroying black families, or destroying or attempting to emasculate black men. I remember he kind of put it in that tone, and I'll let you sort of begin to add on.
well, feminism has done a lot when we see that male and female relationships. Like, it was a young lady a couple of days ago did the history story on the lady who came up with feminism. She worked for the CIA. She was a spook for the CIA. But people don't know that. People don't know that the CIA had hands in to destroy the nuclear family, and especially the black family,
Is
because
that
they used.
Gloria
Yeah,
Stein?
yeah,
Yes. Right, right,
yeah.
right.
She was a CIA agent. She worked for the CIA. They made her a spook. They made her put all these different genres up about hating the black man, and you don't need the black man. You don't need a man, and you could do it yourself, and you independent.
Mm.
So that push became a reality, and it became a mindset that where it took place in like probably like I would say 3 or 4 generations. And
Mm.
today we have the effect of it is cancer, because today, you know, they did a study that when dads and men are home, the psychological part of the kids are together. The mental health of the child has more confidence. The child has more of an outstanding or well-being, because the dad are the enforcers, and they prove that when dads are at homes, children do make way more better on tests overall, and kids go far. And because not just the protecting part, but on the part that they know that it's both parents in the home. When the single parent came, the single mom came, they have shown studies that a lot of Pookies and Ray Rays come from single moms. A lot of the jail industry became big business because of hood
Mm.
rat culture. This is
Mm.
facts. This is what's going on. And so now what we have with feminism, when we bring this up, it's a talking point where it's going in a circle where it's our fault. Well, people don't know that blame game putting it on that it's the man's fault was pushed by Gloria. And that's where we get that from. That's where that comes from. No one never takes accountability. It's always the man's fault. That's why if you ever go on YouTube, what the funniest thing, you'll always hear men say, oh, watch, men will get blamed for it. You know, because it's always been the easiest downfall. But you know, at the time right now, what we have with the nuclear family, it's like it's become almost a warfare to bring up talking points that deal with taking accountability and what roles that we play as wives or husbands or just men and women, period, in general. You know, and now women are, I don't know if you heard about it, but let me read that to you. So, and the thing is too, other countries are stepping up their game on feminism. Where they, I mean, because China right now are making a school for all boys. So they're trying to push masculinity because feminism made men soft. Feminism introduced simping to the most highest level, where men can't be alpha or sigma without being feeling like they're disrespecting somebody or feeling not appreciated, because they'll be like, oh, you can't be like that, you can't talk like that. So China, I have two good autos. So right now, and China's masculinity crisis is so bad because of feminism. They're saying that now the education minister has beefed up gym classes and stopped K-pop because it's making men become weak and feel inferior. Now, if you look at, and so because feminism has affected them that bad. Feminism in Switzerland government had to step in. The government of Switzerland says that men are no longer trying to marry Switzerland women. It says today men are leaving Switzerland women and marrying women from Thai culture because they are feminine, nurturing, submissive, and they're cooperative, and they are agreeable. Because feminism has made them feel butchy and act like a man and act too masculine. Every other nations are starting to step in and put a stop to this because they don't want the nuclear family. They even in Switzerland, they're banning Switzerland men from marrying outside of Switzerland women because they feel like feminism has did a damage job there. When I was online, when I was on the page, I talked to Indian men, African men. I talked to men from Arabian. They're saying that feminism is affecting their countries as well. So on the Red Pill Rage, site. So the feminism has what we see right now in America, why we can't step on it is because of certain levels of feminism now is the new level of what we say it's more powerful than some white supremacy in itself. If you want to say it's like that, it's like the back door. You know what I'm saying? With an iron fist. Is even feminism is even going against white supremacy. It's even like knocking down their doors. So because men can't be men can't stand up, men can't take charge. Even to the point where we had men recently, and I like to say his name because it causes a star form. But when we got, KS, what I'm saying, or the Godfather, calls them out, G-checks them will die alone. Have a dog. Get a cat. Because you don't need a man if you're going to have that attitude and that behavior in their relationship. They start calling them all types of names. So even if you stand up against feminism, you're called the G word, you're called punk, you called B, you called all these different things. Even you get smeared campaigns. You get smeared for just standing up against it. And now we seeing it take place. And now some of these women are like, oh, nobody won't be with me. Now you're seeing women making videos talking about men won't approach them. Well, they open their door up with feminism. When men was approaching women between the 90s and 2000s, they start coming up with a word saying, you too thirsty, you're weird, you're bagging. So now when men are like, I'm not interested, I don't want to talk to you. You know what? I can replace you. I go overseas and get 10 just like you. That's what's happening right now. Feminists has caused that big problem.
Yeah, let me chime in on that. It's really interesting. Sometimes there are a lot of these successful women out here. I saw one recently, had a post about how she got seven figures and didn't do it with a man. And she said it like two or three
Yeah,
times, like throughout the post, of how she didn't need a man to do it. And it's like, I mean, just say what you did and move it on. You don't have to say that you didn't do
right.
it without a man or whatever. And that's just one example. And then there's this other one. I mean, and I'm just seeing a lot of ego around it.
Hmm.
Single successful women syndrome, and it's like somebody or that they would consider not per se on their level, whatever that particularly means. And
Right.
reality is generally some you know half a red cent more global system of racism, white supremacy, where there's a total racial caste system, and
Right.
many of us, we in the bigger scheme of global wealth, our differences in income is rather small, in
Yeah.
the bigger picture. But unfortunately, many people who don't understand a deep, in-depth understand the history of and economics, and they living in this capitalist per se dream or whatever, and they just think, I mean, and we're only comparing ourselves with each other. We're not necessarily looking at history and
Right.
sticks and facts that, for instance, Dr. Claude Anderson or some other individuals are looking at the wealth disparities, where we really aren't necessarily gaining true ground, but we have more money to buy a few more trinkets. So
Yeah.
yeah, so but you have people out here that are I guess feeling good about themselves, that and granted, once upon a time, history, there was not as many women, in various positions and economically prosperous like this. So now it's like this new sense of power, this new sense of domination, if you will, at least over their own lives, and therefore, a male becomes obsolete, right? So,
Right.
like Black Men, Single, Dangerous, Obsolete by Hakeem Edebuli that he wrote some years ago. So, and many don't deal with this, and when we're talking about wealth and things like that, but it's a significant discussion. But I wanted to move, on to, we were talking about simping, right? So,
Right.
and I don't know if you see the screen there, but that goes into some of the discussions that Dr. Boyce Watkins has been having. I know we talked a little bit about him before, but have you been watching the lead attorney guy?
Yeah. 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 That's my man. Me and him are friends. Good
Okay.
dude.
Yeah, no, he really shared some, fascinating statistics, and as well as his experience. And most people, unfortunately, we got to get listen to different people to get a good, strong, mature grasp on these topics, to really understand what we need to be doing, particularly under this global system of racism, white supremacy, where, like you said, Black men, for instance, particularly if you are a heterosexual masculine black men on some levels, you know, you are in fact the target, right?
All day.
You know, I mean, and we see that with the push to emasculate black men, and when it's tied to economics, many black men feel like they can get further by being a woman, right?
Of
So
course.
going into that LGBT, you know, movement with that. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Nah, you're right. You're right.
So that's one of the things I wanted to, you know, build on. But earlier you mentioned this this alpha male, and your girl has been, you know, sort of going in. I guess she called herself going in on Tariq. So how would you? You had some things to say about this, and how she offers critiques and talks about alpha. You know that black men are nothing but beta males, and I mean,
Yeah.
what does a beta male do? Like, I mean, what, you know, most men, if they doing anything, they're out here working, they grinding, they're trying to be productive. So it's like, you know, ain't nobody walking around saying I'm an alpha male. You know, you trying to sell something, you trying to make phone
Right.
calls, you trying to, you know, do something. Like, you're not like trying to hunt down no damn, you know, food, you know, like I'm an alpha male, or, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and I'll just give you this example of how illogical some of these things. I remember that there was this sister, she calls herself Sister Latava, and I don't know what her belief is, or she's like a feminist, like, you know, Amazon woman. Like, she just want to, you know, black men don't need to be reading books. We need to be, you know, fixing and building houses and doing things with our hands, like, and serving women. Like, she wanted to build a type of slave plantation type system on, you know, on a farm with black men basically doing labor all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, because you know, and I'm just like, I mean, and not to say that black men shouldn't learn how to do certain things, but she actually frowned on the intellectual development of men, you know.
Yeah.
And
That's feminism.
yeah, because I used to talk about, wow, that's deep, thank you. I used to talk, you know, dissecting different books, and like, I don't care what you know or what you read. You can't milk no chickens or something. I mean, not milk chickens, but milk cows and, yeah, something like that. I'm like, where the hell you think we live? Like, not every man is living like out in a barn, like this back to nature or whatever type of thing. So they read these different books and develop these ideologies and try to apply it and put an African centered spin on it, and uh, and they emasculate some of the more intellectually weaker men,
Right.
men that don't have any confidence, or simps, shall I say, that don't necessarily have anything credible or confidence about their previous life decisions. So
Right.
that's the challenge that we have, and we have many of them, unfortunately, you know, because they become dependent,
Right.
economically speaking. Many of these black men are, you know, dependent upon some of these women for their
Right.
financial gain, so they can't offer any fair and balanced, honest critiques. And, you know, so, and that's sort of what's happening. And, you know, and like you said, the families are suffering, the communities are suffering, because men are, you know, somehow, you know, somewhere being boys.
Of course. Yeah, that's
So
what they call it. You know about that too?
say again.
What'd you say? You said voice?
No, boys. They out there being boys. But yeah, they out there
Yeah.
being. Yeah.
That's what they were saying. They were saying Peace to Minister Jeff and Real Supreme. They were saying that on YouTube. They're saying being Boyce.
Oh, for real? Okay.
Yeah, they was calling being Boyce. They made a hashtag. It's a hashtag called Getting Boyce or Moist, Getting Moist Twatkins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a hashtag.
No, it's deep, and that's where interesting. The dynamics of how relationships can impact. I mean, even people who think that they have some economic knowledge and they lack an awareness of relationship decisions and how it can impact their life. But they still, will try to talk about relationships like Boyce. I just this example, and I had one particular comment. Sorry, let me try to find. I'll just give you this example, brother, of how, and I don't want to call it like feminism, but what's happening, and this is more empirical. This is like something that I've experienced over and over. That somehow, for instance, the simping men are, sort of thrusting women up to make them feel like they can say and do anything. And I'll just give you. Oh shoot! Wait a minute, my bad. I'm sorry, my automatic speech thing kind of recorded, and let me just give you this example of something that sort of happened to me once upon a time. Like I knew a sister, and this is kind of going into some Kevin Samuels type stuff, but I mean, this sister, went to some European universities. I mean, well, no, I'm sorry, HBCU, a very prominent one at that, right? But came back to the Baltimore area, and I don't know, she was sort of courting or was acquainted with a halfway decent brother, a real upstanding brother. And for whatever reason, she didn't want this particular brother. And she eventually got with a guy that was like a drug dealer, and he was in jail at one time, right? End up having a baby with this dude. And let me change this. End up having a baby with this dude, and then got back with, I mean, not necessarily got back with the dude, but was trying to talk to the good brother, good guy, and was telling this brother, for instance, that she wanted wait a minute. She wanted private school for her child. This is not her child, his child. But she wasn't pregnant before, but she with some other dude.
So she put all these rules and standards on him. Yeah,
sort of like the Boyce Watkins scenario. Like you accept the good smart brother. I mean not that Boyce's wife is kind of like into like thugs, but this woman got like a real thug, like a beat up, like a beat everybody up type of thug, like a criminal with a criminal record. But this woman had like a master's degree, for instance, and she went back and tried to talk to the brother and talking about, I need a somebody to pay for private school. I need someone to for my child. I need to live in a particular neighborhood, a decent neighborhood, and like you only making like $40,000 with a master's or something and a bunch of student loan debt. So I'm like, I mean, you first, like you are, you're economically ignorant about some things, but you feel confident in telling a man that that you rejected, that you gonna come back to him and he gonna pay for your child's to go to school and to get, you want to live in a particular neighborhood, but you don't even, like, you can't even, you haven't even did anything to prepare yourself with that. So it goes into the question of one of the things, should men pay for everything? What you think about that?
So yeah, a lot of people have debated Kevin about that. I believe no. I think it should be 50-50 because when you pay for too much for something, some people will take advantage of it, unfortunately. And if a guy is having all what he built and created for his resources, he shouldn't be able to just give it and hand it to somebody that easily and just do everything for them without them showing improvement of what they're bringing to the table. Because a lot of times, what we have seen, the reason why men now don't want to deal with women with all these things they bring is because a lot of men has been robbed over the last 30 years in this country. Getting married has been almost like that, the Godfather said that in some of these relationships, it's like paying for somebody else's loan at a college loan. That's a deep statement, because who wants to give with somebody where you're paying their debt and you're responsible for their debt and they're not, and they don't have to do nothing but look pretty? That's not enough to bring to the table. And in today's modern time, you need 2 loaves of bread and 1 loaf of bread to eat, to even enjoy life. Some of these degrees don't even hold the reality up to even have a decent job or a decent pay. You got most certification jobs or trade jobs get paid more than degrees. So, and a lot of times with a lot of people who come to that in relationships, they feel that men are just laborers. That's a feminist mindset. Because you thinking and depending on that, all he's going to do is take care of me. Now, some men do want modern days that women should just be home and be nurturing. And I get it. Now, that's got its good and pros and cons, because you do got women who got every degree in the world, but they need a degree. They need a degree how to get along in customer service with their husband or boyfriend. They need to go back to school and get a degree how to get along with social skills. Because they can't talk to, their decent mate. Because, it was a study done in California how the dominant society, European women were going to school to learn how to be nurturing in the home, in the bedroom, in the kitchen, and learn how to make their man happy, because they didn't want to become too masculine. So it has some behavior in that. And I don't know, like we say, the corporate world makes women masculine or whatever, because it probably does. But ain't nobody worried about nobody's degree or salary. Men want women that's cooperative. They want women they can get along with. They want women that can have a good conversation with, that can help stimulate them, that can help push them farther in their goals, that can help push them to things they have dreamed of, the accomplishment. Because like GWG said, the old song, nobody don't want a big butt and a smile, So that will be farther more valuable than what we see today. But like we said earlier, feminists did a lot.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm gonna get to that. But okay. Yeah, so I just do the knowledge like this now. Many black men, for instance, don't live as long as women in general, and many black men are doing some sort of arduous task. Okay. Right. On their jobs, and and I'll just give you this example, the story that I have that many people are aware of now. Tabitha Brown, she's I know she's a vegan, but she's also an actress out in LA. But it made like she did a video and said that she retired her husband. Now, cool. you know how that was taken by some people, including Wendy Williams, who I never would like really mention ever, but
Wow.
but I saw the Tabitha story before, but her husband was a police officer, right? You know,
Right.
now who wants to do that? Like for real? I mean, like I don't, not to,
Ever.
but it's a tough, dangerous job. Like to, be putting food on the table and so it's a tough job. He's earned something. 15 years of while she was attempting to get her
Right.
career off the ground or whatever. So
Oh, that was nice. Yeah.
yeah, now so some people took that like, okay, now what does that make her like? So is she like a simp to do something like collective
No,
for
you're not simping when you catering to somebody. So
yeah
if he helped build her and invested in her while he stayed a police, she came back to rescue him from that same police job and retired him, then that wouldn't be simping. That would be saving your husband, keeping him alive,
yeah
and investing in him to have his own business and
right
wealth is health. Because it's a strenuous job if you stay so long every day working
mm-hmm.
that job. This year alone in the pandemic, they said we had the most police quitting in the country. Matter of fact, North Carolina just showed just recently the most is they don't have enough police where now you want certain phone calls like domestic violence or whatever, they won't
Wow.
they won't respond to it. There's not
Wow.
enough police. It's that bad. So what she did was a good righteous thing, and she put it out there that she showed that she did it, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of women should invest to save good men so they can stay around. Men do die more than quicker because they're always trying to satisfy and make someone happy. And that theory that's been taught for so long, happy wife, happy life, where I really totally disagree and I'm really against it, because that's death. Because you're never gonna satisfy somebody always, all the time, every time. So I think that was a good thing that she retired because of her career taking off as an actress, or being where she's at. She has enough money to take care of both of them, where she can get him into acting, or he can be her manager. He already her manager as her husband. Now he can be a manager of being acting, or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? She can bring him into the acting world. So that's a great thing, because if you love someone, you're gonna want to invest to help them.
Right. No, and that's going back to the whole scenario of the whole alpha and the whole beta male. It's like, okay, like, I mean, obviously you're not going to be no soft man
Right,
on a police force. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
the whole definition of somebody being soft, that's out of the question in that scenario. So I just wanted to dispel some of that, discussion about what alpha,
Mhm.
what is a beta, for instance. But I also wanted to address that the whole conclusion about, because even when I guess it was 50 Cent, I believe. No, it was no, it was the rapper The Game
Right.
that said that men should pay for everything or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you made your money talking about slinging guns, drugs, and sex or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, if a young man listens to you, I mean, and I don't know, the game's direct, but you calling yourself The Game,
The
like,
game for a reason. Right.
and you smoking weed every day, or you encouraging that, and most rappers out here, I mean, it's a death lifestyle. So you're not going to live that long, like, in that life. So you're not encouraging young men to be healthy, holistic, and productive. So they're not going to live long enough to take care of their wife and their
Right.
family. Now,
Yeah.
if they smoking weed, they're not going to be able to get halfway decent jobs. So what are you telling them? So like if you don't,
Let's say own a dispensary or they own business contracts with
right,
medicine or stock, Now
right. Well, yeah, if they entrepreneurs, I mean, you could call,
entrepreneurs with it.
but then, honestly, like how many occupations, I mean, and there are some jobs or careers or businesses that you can be high on, and don't nobody
Of
care.
course.
I mean, there may be a few, but generally speaking, you still have to handle business. Like
Business.
you still have to have some level of sobriety, particularly if you don't have an education or you don't have
Right.
some types of skills. I mean, now and none of that was said. Just men should pay 100.
Yeah. Well, you know why he said that? He said that because he's always been a symbol to the opposite sex. So him and Deion Sanders, this is the thing where simping became a disease in the community. If you pander to women, you get more money and get followers.
Right.
You get a approval, even if you know it's wrong. See, this is why I don't knock Derrick Jackson. I actually like Derrick Jackson. I'm a fan of Derrick Jackson because Derrick Jackson was the intellectual Pookie that sold them the lies that they like and told them the lies that they like, told them the BS that they wanted to be sold. Because when we see Derrick Jackson versus, Kevin Samuels, it's two different realities. But see, Kevin Samuels gives you the logic, the truth. He gives you the nasty and the gritty, the things you have to deal with. And you have to check yourself at the door. Derrick Jackson will make the blame on everything on him and Poppy, because Poppy's the new Derrick Jackson, the little thug dude that's going around talking about you supposed to cash app her in the morning. But
Is that Poppy up in New York?
I don't know. There's some little dude who around talking about every time a woman does, every time she speak to you or text you, you supposed to cash app her. See, these behaviors is making a falsehood of like a subconscious prostitution. You know what I'm saying? I gotta pay your bills of like you got women that are actually saying that you gotta pay me dating alimony or friendship alimony just to be with you. See, that's called white knights, beta operas, and we call them blue pill, betas, and we call them simps. They go to simps. Simp disease is the last thing on the spectrum. Don't ever want to be a simp. Because a simp, simps are Judases. Simps are the cousin to the coon. People don't know that. So if you ever see a coon, if you see the coon, always know that it's always some correlation of a simp in that person. Because they don't like to stand up. They don't want to be realistic. They don't want to do reality. And they love to be brainwashed. And they love woman approval when they know these things are against their masculine in their body. You know what I'm saying? Like the things like Boyce Watkins was saying.
Man, I was about to say that. Yeah, that sounds.
You know what I'm saying? He need to stick with financing and get a PhD degree. You know what I'm saying? And family structure, because first of all, you can't give stupid, silly advice when it haven't worked in 40 years or 100 years, and we're still doing the same thing, and we're still dealing with the same battles and got no solution. We still had Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, Crestus Wilson, Dr. Clarence Anderson, Farrakhan. We have many more. We have so many great has left this planet. You know what I'm saying? That's gave their greatness and their time and energy of the male and female roles. And guess what? We're still dealing with it. So he's talking a theory that's out of date, out of time, that ain't working. It ain't working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is not working. And if the minister was at his prime, if you go back 20 years ago in them videos, he go in about some of these things. He's like, how somebody gonna date you or marry you and they can't get along with you? You're not even agreeable to work with. How can he work with you and you can go to that job and get along with Mr. Smith and Mr. Larry, and then when he tries to be a maintainer, you're putting them down and breaking them down all day? And who wants to go to fight the world all day long under the structure of supremacy or this mental illness in America, and then come home and fight you too? Makes no sense. Men want peace, pleasure, and love, and some type of harmony. So nobody wants that. So at the end of the day, when we call that out, you're being a chauvinist. You're being mean. You're being misunderstood. You're being violent. Who hurt you? Your mama hurt you. You got mom issues. You got daddy issues. You have a mental illness. You're depressed. You are a bitch. See, these are the things that's pushed. So men will be like, so when men tap into and when men tap into Sergeant Willie Pete and people like that theory, or old G Price, you're like, all right, you know what? You hit the wall. I'll go my way. You go your way. I can replace you. And that's what has become. That's what it's been come to. And even with our fellow brother, we know Mr. Jason, that don't work no more. I don't care how much numbers you got. A joker can still choose and do wrong and still do what they want to do, regardless. With all the knowledge and accreditation you can have, they can still slime you. We just showed, I had up in an article, the Amazon, the most richest guy in the world, his girlfriend just turned on him and was finessing him for her big brother.
Who's that? You said, say that again?
The Amazon owner, what's his name? Jeff Bezos.
Bezos?
Yup. His lady finessed him for her brother. He's suing her brother now because her brother manipulated him out some loans.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? He didn't see no red flags. And so if this can happen to a guy with his statue, what do you think guys like us and our statue gotta be concerned and be worried about and be in tune about? And I'm like this. Jason, I disagree with him big, because he was talking about, if you go overseas, you're weak. If you go overseas, you're weak. First of all,
what does that mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
he had a show. He went in about going overseas, you're weak. And my take on that,
what are you saying? Like, you should be fighting.
If you go overseas, to me, he was saying basically, if you go overseas, you're paying for it. But if guys go overseas and get a wife, it's a problem. It's a problem not to do with what's here. We're running away from our issues. First of all, let's get it clear. Ain't nobody willing to clean up this crap here. What we're dealing with here are actually men, okay? We're dealing with transformers. We're dealing with men. We're dealing with men in women's bodies here. Ain't nobody willing to do that. These women here has been so tranquilized. I love, and peace out to Princess Kevin Jones on Facebook. She said it best. The new feminism here and the new sisters is the new Karen. They're Karen and reincarnated.
Wow.
They're Karen and reincarnated. Child support is a game. Blaming every man for all their problems and never taking accountability. You pick these Pookies and Ray Rays. You pick the guys you make babies with. Like, ain't nobody, you got 30 different contraceptives. You know what I'm saying? Some of these women choose these dudes even afterward. They pick the beta male audibers or white knights only when they hit the wall and nobody wants them, or they feel like they're not like getting what they want out of life. They're just subtle. And or they'll do a Boyce Watkins move where they'll be like, well, nothing didn't work out with all the bad guys I picked, so I guess I'm ready to go pick a good guy that I gave a hard time to. Wow.
No, it's interesting.
Yeah.
A sister got upset with me now. She is a prime example of what Kevin Samuels talk about. Just not very, didn't take care of herself well, and drinks and sort of just not very
Right.
attractive, kind of
Right.
curious, but just like not. I mean, she eats like anything, you know what I'm saying,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
do enough healthy things. And when you start getting older, what I'm seeing is she hates Kevin Samuels.
Of course.
Yeah, and when you start getting older, sometimes these hostilities from these single older women who may or may
Hmm.
not have a child, but who may have never been married. Um, they, for instance, many of them, I'm not going to say all, but there's in many cases, if they're not in touch with their femininity, they have a high level of, of anger and rage.
Of course.
I've seen.
Tariq talks about that. Tariq got a
Yeah.
book. He talks about it.
So this
Yeah.
one, like that sits online and complains about, for instance, complains about being single, but you only show up in places where young thugs are. You know what I'm saying? And it's just
Right.
like,
Right.
how do you expect to have like any type of um, mature relationship when the standards have been so low? And I blame many of the parents who
Of course.
aren't necessarily educated, and there's no sort of rules. We don't have any
Mhm.
rules. And like when I was in Tanzania, where was I? I think I was in Zanzibar, and they said that
I love Zanzibar, man.
oh man, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, brother.
I
Yeah,
know it was. That water over there is gorgeous.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So yeah, but they still have prearranged marriages. You know,
Yes, yes. I believe it. I respect that.
yeah. I mean, and it's like the families. There's a structure. There's a level of
Mm-hmm.
continuity, at least at a minimum.
Yeah.
That some years later they ain't gonna pop up and say I was a man or I was a woman once upon a
Yeah.
time. So I mean, it's just this is the type of things that mature adults, us people who are striving to live whole have to
Right.
be aware of, and not let these people in our spaces to influence us. I mean, I don't have those concerns, but it's like when they are out here, and they have these hostilities towards black men, in general, and you don't like have a underlying, shall I say, psychological profile of the what these conversations and what the media is teaching them, and what they're and
Mm-hmm.
propaganda machine that's being taught uh, through media and through everything, all the books and everything, films.
Everything.
So
Yeah.
we have to know that there's a psychological warfare going on, and it's up to us. And and I've read, and I don't talk about it, but I've read a lot of different relationship books over the years, and so I know where Kevin Samuels get some of his
Of
statistical
course.
research from. So
He's
I'm a
got a lot of good research.
pardon.
He's got a lot of good research. He even got some information out of the Tariq books.
Out of what?
Out of Tariq Rashid's book. He even got Tariq
Oh, okay.
Rashid, the art of Mackin tells men how to deal with dating and not get used. And some of the laws he breaks down is the 7 levels of disrespect. How you should never let a woman disrespect you as a man. How you stay in your
Wow.
masculine frame. Tariq talks all about that in the Mac lessons. See, the Mac lessons were taught in the 90s. See, so everything we seeing now, Tariq was probably 40 years ahead of it. Yep.
Mm,
So what we're seeing now is only a regurgitating of what he put out 30, 20 years ago.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, so, you know,
It's heavy.
interesting that you mentioned that because Brother Baruti has a book, called Complementary, where he deals with, attempting to establish my in relationships and, attempting to create a level of wholeness. But
Right.
but brother, it's getting late, man. I think,
Yeah, I know. I'm just
we
laughing
did a
because we
good job.
mentioned Boyce
Yeah.
Watkins. You know, he got a book called Duty. It's called Finance, Relationship and Finances. And we're gonna have to bring up that book next time because that book contradicts what you believe in. Because how are you gonna get with somebody who got a bunch of baggage of problems and your finances is at a toll pole and you're investing in their baggage and they don't want to correct themselves?
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Because he talks about that in the book. So his book will be contradicting the book he wrote called, Financial Lovemaking, if you're investing in the Pookie Ray Ray mom.
Mm.
Because you're trying to fix somebody who won't be fixed, who might need mental health or count. Because that's the one thing Boyce Watkins don't talk about. He don't talk about that some of the moms or some of the women he talk about marrying in the community need therapy and they need counseling. And some of them do have mental illness. We have a lot of like literally a lot. I mean, when you gotta understand, when you have a lot of relationships, a lot of baby daddies, you need mentally counseling. You need therapy.
Right.
All those
Right. I
spirits
agree.
and energies affect your subconscious, especially with women who loves thugs on the regular. Like, how can you not? You know.
Right. Right.
I know
Right.
it's getting late, but and we gotta talk about the Tanzania trip next time because that's what I want to talk about. Because I know when you went over there, how the women are very feminine, how they were cooking the food, everybody was real nurturing and loving. That's something we should talk about the next segment.
All right, we'll definitely do that, brother. So yeah, I appreciate your time, man. So
Yeah.
we'll brother. So appreciate you, and keep up the good work, soldier.
You too, bro. Peace.
Peace, bro. Thanks, man. Till next time, y'all. We are out. We are out. Peace and blessings.
Yeah.